Ever wondered how love could flourish under such strict rules as those of Victorian England? Could their passion be unlocked through the use of courtship calling cards? It is time for us to take a peek behind closed doors and discover what went on in this secretive world of romance that was bound by corsets and chaperones. At number 1, we have courtship calling cards. In bustling streets there once lived many messengers of love known as courtship calling cards during the Victorian era. Just see that debonair man with his coat buttoned up so neatly, wending his way down the cobbled paths. Can't you tell how much he's looking forward to it all? He stops at a large house, takes out from an inner pocket in his coat one little card that has been most carefully worked over, puts it neatly into the waiting hand of the silent butler who opens the door for him. He has declared himself. But in another part of town there sits primly beside a window a young lady whose eyes are bright with curiosity too. Her heart beats faster when she sees silver trays carried by men servants into drawing rooms. They always have gentlemen's cards on them. She reaches out delicate fingers and takes one, looks at engraved letters entwined together and other faint lines or curls which speak well about sender's good breeding or taste. These things say everything. The exchange of calling cards was not only a formality, but also an intricate dance of courtship in which silence spoke louder than words. It was a fragile and game of fancy, where each card held the potential for a romance to bud. And thus it happened that during the times of Victorian decorum, courting through visiting became silent heralds for love which wove romantic stories across time and space. Number 2. The language of flowers. In the fertile gardens of Victorian England, love grew among colors and scents guided by flowers' language. Imagine a field drenched in sunshine where couples strolled arm in arm listening to whispers from nature with their hearts. They were surrounded by blossoms at every step, each carrying its own message of affection concealed within. To express his fiery passion, there would be nothing better than giving her dozens red roses. On the other hand, if he wanted show everlasting loyalty, then bunch forget-me-nots would do just fine. That is why, while being nested within beautiful countryside settings, people shared floral tokens as signs of their feelings towards one another, because such love flourished like those very same flowers lining paths around them. Nonetheless, the language of flowers did not only apply to big gestures. It was adopted in every area of Victorian living, including official courtships and private tender moments. This medium thrived on subtlety. It made room for simplicity, by which even a modest posy could express profound emotions. With the opening petals and wafting fragrance, this silent symphony of love became a language that spoke through time with each frail blossom. Number 3. Calling on chaperones. In Victorian parlors, wealth displayed itself as romance under strict regulation, with chaperones always present to oversee every move. Picture young sweethearts walking through crowded London streets. Their hearts are pounding from newfound love. Right next to them is an alert guardian who watches everything like a hawk without uttering a word, thereby protecting virtue and decorum. Presence of minders throughout wooing days served as constant reminder about limits set by society during Victorian era. This acted as delicate balance between passion and proper behavior, where both were guided by prudent eyes of close friend or relative standing nearby, while hands were swinging gently back and forth. However, chaperones did not only oversee the development of romantic relationships, they were participants in it. They provided advice and helped individuals through the trials of love so that it would flourish within the bounds set by society. Therefore, during this time when rumors ran rampant and skirts trailed on the ground, chaperones acted as silent protectors of love. They represented loyalty, honor, and respect. Number 4. The institution of engagement. Engagement was a sacred covenant in Victorian times. It was not just an agreement, but a commitment backed by tradition and duty too. Imagine two lovers holding hands while slipping rings onto each other's fingers as a sign that they are now locked for life. All these promises marked the beginning of forever together. However, choosing whom to marry was never an individual affair. It involved many people around you, including family members or even entire communities, thus becoming more complex than personal preference alone could determine. From young people's perspective, though, their union may seem like nothing else but compulsory partnership based on financial gain or social status, which disregarded true feelings altogether. But an opportunity was seen through the showiness and formality that love might conquer convention under any circumstances. For there was a type of love in stolen looks and gentle touches shared between people, which defied all probabilities and would last long after vows were exchanged. Therefore, during Victorian times, engagement changed from being merely contractual agreements into being proof that affection can last forever, even in duty-bound traditional societies. Number 5. The dance of wooing. Amidst the grandeur of Victorian England's dance halls, one could find love in the air as couples swirled around each other to soft tunes meant for wooing. Imagine a fairy tale setting with well-dressed men leading elegantly clad women across shiny wooden floors to the lilting rhythm of violins, hearts pounding in time with every twirl, or dip minds lost under magic spells cast by music's enchantment. The wooing dance wasn't just another social event where people met new faces. It was an intricate series of steps designed for potential partners to display their finesse, elegance, and suitability for marriage. It was a place where eyes spoke volumes without uttering words, where each move promised love and happiness tomorrow. But among the twinkling chandeliers and sparkling dresses, there was a tension as thick as the air. Because in Victorian society, the courtship dance wasn't just about finding love, it was a place where fortunes were made and broken with every twist of a heel. Yet within all this excitement and anticipation, there remained an eternal beauty that defied time and space. For when two people held each other close to the strains of a haunting melody, they found themselves in a moment of pure happiness, a glimpse at heaven on earth. Number 6. Love tokens and keepsakes. In quiet moments during Victorian courtship, love took shape as tokens and keepsakes. Picture for yourself two young people who are deeply in love, exchanging gifts that represent their affection for one another. To a passionate suitor, nothing could be more valuable than receiving a locket enclosing strands from his lover's hair, while to an unwavering partner, nothing would serve as better proof than getting handwritten letters showing how much she is loved by him. However, love tokens were more than just trinkets. They were physical manifestations of the ties that bound two hearts together in love, a pressed flower between the pages of a treasured book, or an exchanged handmade keepsake under moon's glow. Each one had the ability to transcend both time and space, acting as an optimistic signpost within a world fraught with doubt. Therefore, within this fast-paced Victorian society of people coming and going, exchanging love tokens took on another meaning for themselves. They became sacred charms, protecting against change those who loved one another deeply. Because when presents were swapped over while saying sweet nothings into ear canals full of desire shared by only two souls forevermore, amongst crowded rooms filled with others doing likewise, but never once listening or caring too much what was being said, until later on when everything else would fade away anyway, except memories about how long it all went on for. Number 7. The influence of poetry and literature. Within quiet corners behind closed doors lining every street corner throughout England, during this time period known as the Age, where writers penned their works which would inspire generations to come, authors such as Shakespeare himself, who might have written sonnets dedicated towards expressing undying devotion, or perhaps even passages taken from some novel crafted by Jane Austen herself, which showcased true everlasting affection between couples who found themselves falling deeply in love within each other's arms whilst reading. However, poetry and literature did not only consist of marks on paper, rather they were gateways to a place where there is no limit to love. Every story was a light of hope in the dark world. Therefore, among dancing lights and the smell of writing materials, people came to know that their love was part of something bigger than themselves. It belonged to them and all lovers before them who lived throughout history. They realized that in between pages or within verses lie loves that never change with time, a love strong enough to survive any tempest until after the last chapter ends. Number 8. Courtship rituals in rural communities. Guided by nature's rhythms and country customs, courtships unfolded differently in rural English settings as compared with urban ones. This can be explained using an example from a quiet village where traditional fairs were held annually. On such occasions, young duos would meet up under jollity, creating an atmosphere laden with love expectations. For the farmhand, a shy smile and a bouquet of wildflowers were enough to win the heart of his beloved, while for the country maiden, a stolen glance and a whispered word were all it took to ignite the flames of love. But courtship in rural communities was more than just a matter of tradition. It was a celebration of life and love in all its myriad forms. Whether it was a harvest festival in the autumn or a May Day celebration in the spring, each event served as a testament to the enduring bonds that united couples in love. And so, amidst the rolling hills and verdant meadows, couples found solace in the knowledge that their love was part of a grand tradition that stretched back through the ages. For in the simplicity of rural life, amidst the sights and sounds of the countryside, they discovered a love that was as timeless as it was enduring, a love that would endure long after the fields had been harvested and the seasons had changed. And that's it from this video. See you in the next one.